What are you doing?
I just adopted 30 puppies. Who's a burger burger? Who's a burger burger burger? Who's a burger burger burger?
That'll make your pet fret. The Pope just telling couples not to substitute dogs and cats for kids. A move he says may be more comfortable for them, but will lead to these are his words, bitterness of loneliness in old age. So, are couples who choose not to have kids selfish, or these days smart? Minister Wendy Patrick says they're selfish. Family physician Deborah Gilboa disagrees. All right, Wendy, you argue it's selfish. Explain.
Well, first of all, man's best friend is not his dog, it's his family. That's what a lot of people come to realize, especially when they've invested in one. A lifetime of love, laughter, and legacy. But here's the thing, having kids makes your life no longer about yourself, but about someone else, which is always a good thing. It ends up being an investment that you plan for, like anything else, but one that really gives you the kind of fulfillment that no other kind of investment can.
Yeah, but what if people just don't want kids? So they don't think they'll be good parents, they like dogs.
Well, if people don't think they'll be good parents, I agree with you. That would be one reason to really give it some pause. But what we see more often than not, and what I think the Pope was talking about, given his intended audience, was that people are making the decision not to have kids based purely or at least substantially on finances alone. The fertility treatments that those parents are going to have 10 years later when they change their mind may far outweigh what they would have paid to raise a family had they started a little earlier.
Well, that depends if they ever do change their mind. But, Doctor, a lot of them are making that based on economic necessity, or the fact that from their own experience or whatever, they just don't want kids. What do you think of that?
There are absolutely people who don't want kids, and that doesn't mean that they're not devoting their lives to making the world a better place or devoting it to people. Having kids is not the only way to make a great contribution to society. And whatever your reason, if having kids isn't for you, then you should not have them. Parenting is hard. You have to be all in.
All right. You know, Doctor, the separate argument for that is maybe the Pope was really messing with our minds here, just having us rethink what's important in our lives, and that if we're so into pets and into our economic security, we miss the beauty of generational, advancement. Maybe that's what he's getting at. What do you say to that?
I think that the Pope has a very specific
audience. The doctor first, Minister, I will get to you. Doctor, go ahead.
I think that the Pope has a very specific audience in mind, but he's such a large public figure that his remarks go public, and that it is really important to figure out what your priorities are and match them with the life you lead. That's being a responsible adult.
Minister, what do you think of couples who marry, never have kids? They don't even have pets. They just get married, they love each other, and that suits them just fine.
I think that those people get judged.
I must not be clear, and that's my fault. Minister, to you first, then to you, Doctor. Go ahead. Minister.
I think that, that's fine if that's the choices they make. But what I think the Pope was getting at, and he's always got his finger right on sort of the pulse of what we're talking about as a society, is the choice not to have kids based on the money. And what I think he was saying with what's going to happen at the end of a life, if you don't decide to have kids and you wanted them, that's where some of the loneliness comes in, where the decisions you made when you were able to have them both physically and otherwise really come back to haunt you. So it's true.
Unless they grow up to be brats and ungrateful and selfish and greedy, or become congressmen, that's a whole nother, right?
Always a risk.
Always a risk, indeed. Doctor, final thoughts on this?
That people need to choose to be parents because that is the thing that they believe will be most meaningful for them, and that there are many reasons to choose not to, and any of them are really acceptable.
Yeah. The Pope's a conundrum, though, because it was just a couple of months ago he was kidding about in-laws. So I think he's just messing with our minds here. Ladies, I want to thank you both. I appreciate it. Sorry for the confusion.
Thank you.